The fire, everybody. It's time for What's Hot, where we talk about the stories that have us all talking.
We are joined today by local blogger Rochelle Fritsch, and Jeff Wagner is back with us. Wisconsin lags behind other states in requiring a simple infant test. It's called pulse ox screening. A bandage holds a tiny probe on a baby's hand or foot. It checks oxygen in the baby's blood. It can be the first indicator the baby has a potentially deadly hidden illness. The question today is, should the state require it?
Go ahead.
To me, this seems like a no-brainer. This is something that it's preventative, it's relatively cheap. It's $10 to $15 per infant, and if we can invest this on this side rather than worry about expenses, not to mention parents' heartache, I don't understand why we don't do it.
Yeah, see, normally I am reluctant to have the legislature interfere with like patient-doctor relations. I'm real reluctant about that. But I'm with you. This one does strike me as being a no-brainer. It's not intrusive. A lot of hospitals do it automatically anyways, and if you do it, there's a very good chance that you might be able to uncover this defect in a way, in a time when you can really do something meaningful about it. Whether it's state legislation or whether it's all just the hospitals making a decision to do it, this is something that seems to me it should be done on a regular basis.
Let me ask the question. I mean, why can't hospitals just decide to do this on their own? I mean, what's the roadblock?
Well, they can, and as a matter of fact, I think about 85% of the hospitals in the state do it. Most in the Milwaukee area. There's some that don't. I don't know why they're not, but to me, I think, you know, if I saw this story and I was the father of a newborn child, I'd make sure that before my kid left the hospital, I'd say to the doctor, you did this test, right?
Well, you know, and the other thing, and regarding the state stepping in, I mean, back in 2004, it was put on, there is a law in regard to newborn hearing screening that it had to be available at all Wisconsin hospitals. So, I mean, if the hospitals aren't moving fast enough, then maybe it is time for an intervention by the state.
Yeah. I don't mean to be too much of a homer, but I thought that report yesterday highlighting this was absolutely exceptional, simply because this is something I think a lot of people might not have known about, and now you've increased awareness on the part of the parents. Again, whether you need a state law or not, it's something every parent should be asking for and demanding.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Jeff, thanks so much for that. Coming up, we'll reveal the viewer's choice topic of the day.
And Jesse Ricka will be back with our What's Hot topic now. We're going to go to viewer's choice topic of the day.
Again, we are joined by Rochelle Fritsch. She's a local blogger, and Jeff Wagner, he's a local radio guy. Viewer's choice topic of the day, the Biggest Loser champion. Amazing. 260 pounds to 105 pounds. Some people are going after her, saying she lost too much weight. One person on Twitter posted 60% weight loss is nothing to celebrate. Biggest Loser should be ashamed. Did she shed too much weight? She looks healthy to me.
Does she?
Really?
Yeah.
No,
both of you and I are like, no, she looks like she needs a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I'm with you. She's kind of got that sort of heroin chic look that went around there. I mean, no,
she won a triathlon.
Well, I appreciate that. Look, and I'm not discouraging people from losing weight, but at the same time, and look, and I would never go on Twitter to criticize her. I mean, I think it's great that she was losing that weight. But at the same time, I think when people decide to lose weight, take it from somebody who's done it, you want to do it in a responsible fashion. You don't want to do that sudden type of drop.
Well, and that's exactly it, because we're talking 5 months, I believe, is the screening. So to lose, what, 160 pounds in 5 months, that's kind of scary in of itself. How soon is it going to come back? But more importantly, there was a shot of her trainers when she came out, and both of them were just kind of like stunned, like you could see it written on their faces. They were like, this is not cool. What I'm thinking is, you know what, it does look to us like she may have an eating problem or an eating disorder, and I think NBC has an opportunity right now to, if she doesn't have one, to at least address it. So many things like eating disorders, mental illness, alcoholism, things like that fester because people won't talk. NBC has this opportunity to look at it head on and maybe even rethink how Biggest Loser works.
I want to commend her, though, for at least for the effort.
Oh, sure.
However, when she left the ranch, she was 150 pounds. What she did after that, I think, is what had her trainers like, oh my God. I got to believe that there had to be some surgery involved in there. Because you can't be 260 and be that skinny.
But, you know, but you see this all the time, whether I mean, it's the culture nowadays, whether it's, you know, the models or whatever, these people who just have this unhealthy look to them. mean,
She
obviously,
doesn't look
being a-
unhealthy.
She looks a little
fit.
no, she looks a little unhealthy.
She looks kind of, I don't know.
Maybe you like girls with bones, but I know men who
She
like
doesn't
women
look
with meat
bony.
on the
She
bone.
looks fit. She could kick my butt if we got in a room.
You think so?
she's.
That should
Look,
be
did you
another
look at her
hot
face
topic.
and her neck?
Yeah.
It looked a little gaunt. That's the scary part
She
about
looked
it.
tough.
All right.
I don't
Tough.
All right, lightning
I'm not
round.
going any further down this road, just so we all know that.
Lightning,
All right, lightning round.
Lightning round time now.
The Winter Olympics start tomorrow, but Sochi is having a hard time getting their hotels ready. In some rooms, the toilets don't accept toilet paper. I don't even know what that means, but the water is yellow, among other problems. What are your thoughts about all these people descending on Sochi and even their accommodations aren't ready?
I love the excuse that people are given when they complain about something in the hotel. It's Russia.
Yeah.
It's
What?
Russia.
It's Russia?
It's Russia.
But that's the question we should be asking. How in the world did Russia get these Olympic Games? That's the story, that this is a surprise, that they're not ready, that the hotels aren't here. Look, I'm a huge fan of the Olympics. I'm looking forward to the competition. But I have to tell you, between the difficulty people have in getting visas to get there, all the problems, that this, I think, from the perspective of the spectators and stuff and the journalists, going to be an absolute nightmare. And it was all predictable. Russia should have never had this.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well,
But they spent $51 billion.
You couldn't prove it
On
by those
everything
people
else,
that can't
apparently.
flush the
How,
toilet.
how much of that was lost to corruption
Well,
and
that's-
graft and paying people off?
That's
This
going
is
to be
Russia.
the story.
This
yeah.
is Russia.
That's going to be the story about where all the money went. But yeah, you say 51 billion and you can't flush your toilet or you can't put paper down your toilet. Okay, well, that doesn't do you much good.
Well, there was a ton of landscaping done too. I'm not saying it's all landscaping, but there is a lot of it done. It just makes me think of like when, and I'll admit it, we've had people over sometimes and we got that one room that we just weren't able to touch. So we shut the door. We're like, don't go in that room. Do not open the door. Sochi is that room right now.
Oh, wow.
And it's not going to get any. If it's not fixed by now, I just don't
Yeah.
see it being fixed over the next 17 days.
Well,
so.
and the problem is the first people to show up are the reporters. And the CNN, for example, they booked 11 hotel rooms months ago. They get there, one hotel room was ready, and it didn't have curtains.
Right.
Oh.
So if the bathrooms don't work, all we can tell you is hold it.
Right.
You know,
So
it's only 17 days.
when reporters start showing up and the rooms aren't ready, you know we're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you both. The What's Hot discussion will continue online. Find it at tmj4.com/hot.
And coming up,